Let's start with something many people find deeply confusing when dealing with narcissists. No matter how much you grow, no matter how much you heal, no matter how clearly you change, they still see you as the person you used to be. And over time, this becomes exhausting because you start wondering, am I invisible? Why don't they see it? Why doesn't my growth matter to them? Today, I want to explain this in a way that actually makes sense. Because this isn't random behavior, and it isn't because you have not changed enough. It's because narcissists rely on a specific way of thinking, something I call static identity thinking. In simple terms, they believe people don't change. Now, on the surface, that belief feels strange because growth should be possible for everyone. All human beings, including narcissists, are born with the capacity to learn, mature, and evolve. Life naturally presents moments that invite reflection, correction, and emotional development. So the real question becomes, if growth is possible, why do narcissists rarely change? The answer has nothing to do with intelligence, nothing to do with opportunity, nothing to do with awareness. It has everything to do with how they protect themselves from emotional pain. So, why growth feels dangerous to narcissists? To understand this, we need to talk about what growth actually requires. Real growth depends on self reflection. Self reflection means being able to pause and ask, what role did I play in this? What can I learn from this? How did my behavior affect others? That process isn't comfortable. It often brings up regret, embarrassment, or shame. But that discomfort is exactly what allows people to grow. Narcissists refuse self reflection, not because they are incapable of thinking, not because they lack intelligence, but because self reflection would force them to face something they cannot tolerate: shame. At the core of narcissism is a deeply negative self concept that has been pushed out of conscious awareness. Buried underneath the surface are beliefs like I am unworthy, I am defective, I am not enough. This pain is so intense that it gets repressed. Instead of processing it, the narcissist builds a psychological workaround. They construct an inflated self image: superior, special, exceptional, flawless. This isn't confidence, it's armor, and that armor protects them from emotional pain. But it also traps them because growth would require removing that armor, and they can't do that without feeling exposed. So, narcissism makes an unconscious deal. Instead of self awareness, choose superiority. Instead of growth, choose protection. But growth requires admitting mistakes, tolerating discomfort, accepting limits, learning from feedback. Narcissism depends on never being wrong. So instead of learning, narcissists distort reality, deny facts, rewrite events, replace truth with fantasy. This is why you may notice narcissists lying even when the truth is obvious. Often it's not strategic, it's protective. Truth threatens the illusion, and the illusion is what keeps their shame buried. This also explains why accountability feels so explosive with narcissists. For a healthy person, accountability feels uncomfortable but manageable. For a narcissist, accountability feels annihilation. To admit fault would mean the grand image cracks, the buried shame resurfaces, and emotional pain floods in. So instead of accountability, they rely on projection, blame shifting, minimization, justification. Responsibility is pushed outward, and without accountability, there is no correction. Without correction, there is no learning. This is why narcissists remain emotionally stagnant even as years go by. Now, this brings us back to that belief: people don't change. This belief isn't accidental, it serves a purpose. First, it allows narcissists to trap you in your past. Old mistakes, failures, or moments of vulnerability become permanent definitions. Even when you grow, they keep referencing who you used to be. If you once struggled financially, they may doubt every decision you make, even after you have proven stability and discipline. And often this serves a very real agenda. By keeping you tied to your past, they justify controlling your independence, sometimes even stripping you of your independence while positioning themselves as the authority. Your growth threatens their control, so your past is weaponized against your future. Second, this belief allows narcissists to avoid changing themselves. If people don't change, then self-reflection is unnecessary. If self-reflection is unnecessary for them, then they need not change. They can demand patience, loyalty, and understanding from you as you always been giving them, without offering growth from their side in return. You are expected to adapt endlessly because that is what you are being doing. Now you cannot change. They also cannot change because for a positive to happen, there has to be a self-reflection. Their rigidity becomes normal. Your flexibility becomes an obligation. Third, narcissists don't see people as evolving individuals. They see people as useful or useless. If you benefit them, you are good. If you stop benefiting them, you are bad. You help them today, you are praised. You set a boundary tomorrow, you are selfish. Your character did not change, your usefulness did, and growth has nothing to do with it. To keep this system stable, narcissists rely heavily on labels, calling you lazy, weak, dramatic, manipulative. Once a label is applied to you, it freezes you in place. They no longer need to reassess you. They no longer need to empathize. They no longer need to adapt. You stay predictable, controllable, defined by a version of yourself that suits their narrative. This is why your growth triggers narcissists so deeply. Every improvement you make is a mirror. Your healing, confidence, or success quietly proves that change is possible. And if change is possible, then stagnation is a choice. That realization is unbearable. So instead of adapting, they invalidate. They belittle your progress. They accuse you of showing off. They say you have changed for the worse. What they are reacting to is not arrogance, it's fear. Emotionally, narcissists cannot process change the way healthy people do. They lack empathy, the ability to feel how their actions affect others. Without empathy, there is no emotional feedback loop. They may understand intellectually that someone is hurt, but they don't feel it in a way that motivates change. So apologies are hollow, remorse is performative, and behavior repeats. Empathy is one of the main engines of growth. Without it, development stalls. To protect themselves, narcissists cling to an unconscious belief that they are special or perfect. Not perfect in reality, but perfect as a defense. If I am special, rules don't apply. If I am perfect, fault is impossible. This belief shields them from shame, but it also isolates them from reality. Growth only happens when we accept that we are human, that are evolving. Narcissism rejects humanity in favor of superiority and remains frozen as a result. Here is the most important teaching point. When a narcissist insists you have not changed, they are not describing you, they are defending themselves. Their resistance to growth is not caused by lack of opportunity, intelligence, or potential. It is caused by fear of emotional collapse. Their entire personality structure is built around avoiding shame at all costs. Growth would require facing it, so they remain psychologically stuck while life moves on. Healthy people grow because they are willing to feel discomfort. Narcissists remain the same because they are not. Your growth does not threaten them because it is wrong. It threatens them because it proves that change is possible, and that is something their inner world cannot tolerate. Once you understand this, you stop trying to prove your growth to someone who is invested in denying it, and that understanding alone can be freeing. Hi, I'm Dr. Lavanya. Please subscribe to my channel where I share all about narcissism. I'll see you all in my next video. Until then, take care and bye.